Hey, how's it going, everybody? I just got back from watching Oppenheimer, and I think it's a good movie, but I also do think it's overrated. It's overhyped, in my opinion. And I probably sabotaged myself because I got to the theater late. I got to the theater about 10 to 15 minutes late. So I probably most definitely sabotaged myself because for a good chunk of the movie, I thought I was trying to figure out, hey, what's going on? Because I didn't get the beginning of the movie, right? So I felt it was disjointed for a good amount of the movie. Think like you were jumping from here to here, and I didn't understand what was going on. Okay, I'm back home now, and I mean, what can I do? I looked up a bootleg of the movie. I watched the opening part, the first 10 to 15 minutes. That did help things make sense. It really sets up the movie. Obviously, that's what the beginning of the movie is for. It's to lay the foundation to set up the movie. And I missed out on that, so that's my bad. But at the same time, I still do feel like it was a bit disjointed. Like going from, hey, welcome to the team, welcome Oppenheimer, welcome to the team, to jumping to the future of him on trial for his security, then jumping over to Robert Downey Jr. At the hearing, and those jumps happen, bam, 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 back to back to back, right? And watching the beginning of the movie after watching the entire movie helped because, I know what that is. Hey, I know what that scene is about. So I feel like the second watch through would help a lot. But the first watch through, watching the movie, I didn't notice the scene from the classroom to the scene to, when he's on trial for his, it's not really trial, for his security. I didn't notice the age jump, right? So it felt disjointed in that sense, in my opinion. Let me know if you guys experienced that at all, because it might just be because I missed out at the beginning of the movie. But this is another issue that I had with Christopher Nolan's previous movie, Tenet. That movie felt like a mess to me. That felt disjointed. So let me know if you guys feel that it was not as bad as Tenet. My experience was not as bad as Tenet. But Tenet had that audio issue and all that stuff. But this felt much better. And I'm curious because I ruined I feel like I ruined my first experience by missing out on that beginning part of the movie, because after watching it, I feel like that probably would have helped, made the story feel a little bit more linear, like you can follow it better. But let me know if you guys felt like it was disjointed and a bit messy with the jumps back and forth. Did that confuse you a bit? Let me know. And also the black and white. What was the point of the black and white? It was not to create a distinction between time, because this is an older event, therefore it's in black and white, because the black and white stuff happened in the future. So it was like, wait, what's going on? I had to look up an article just now, and it explained the colored scenes were from Oppenheimer's perspective, and the black and white scenes were from Strauss's perspective. And okay, I can see that, because a lot of the Strauss scenes were black and white, and I was like, wait, what's the significance there? So there are certain things in the movie that were occurring, the jumps, the black and white to color, that I was left confused. And I was like, what is the point of this? I don't know what's going on, right? So I feel like a second watch through would definitely help. And then on top of that, the fact that I missed the beginning 13 minutes of the movie, that probably didn't help either. But other than that, my favorite scene of this movie, spoilers, okay? It wasn't the explosion. You think that's the pinnacle of this movie. Like, holy cow, we're seeing the explosion. No CGI in this movie, right? So seeing that explosion, you would think that would be, they did it. This is it. But my favorite moment, I'm sure the majority of you guys' favorite moment, if you've seen this movie, is my brother's favorite moment also. The most impactful moment, the most standout moment to me was the scene when he's giving the speech after the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and it hits him like, what just happened, right? And this is when his moral compass starts to shift, and he realizes what just what what just happened, because he obviously felt responsible for that girl's death, and now he has the death of all these people, these tens of thousands of people on his shoulders now. So it's just all hitting him. Like, how can I deal with this? I couldn't deal with this, and then now I have to deal with all of this. Like, what have I just done? I care so much about this one person that's close to me dying, and it's my fault. Like, I could have been there to save her, to prevent this. And now I'm the direct cause of all of these deaths. So what I'm feeling here, multiplied that by tens of thousands. That's going to take a toll on anybody. Okay? So he's giving the speech, and he doesn't know what to say, and he's frozen, and so he just says what the crowd wants to hear. And the way the audio effects, the effects were great. I mean, the visual effects, you can tell, is just some kind of like film over this girl's face, and they're trying to make it look like her skin is peeling off, because, they're not using CG, right? So the practical effects could have been done better, and I feel like they probably thought they could get away with it because it was in black and white. But the audio, the sound effects, I did enjoy. And you hear the scream amongst all the cheers. And I don't know, just the way they showed the realization of that, I did like. It was a bit eerie, it was a bit unsettling, but that's what I liked about it. And because it was an unsettling moment for Oppenheimer. And I thought they got that across very well. Speaking of Oppenheimer, Cillian Murphy, I think he carried the movie. Yes, the movie itself, Christopher Nolan, like the quality of the production was there, but I think Cillian Murphy carried the movie. I'm trying to think. Without Cillian Murphy, would the movie do as well? I think the quality would be there, but just Cillian's acting, I thought he did a great job. The fact that this movie had so many well-known actors is insane. I personally didn't like that because there's so many characters and there's so many well-known actors, and this just goes to show that so many actors want to work with Christopher Nolan. Like, seeing Josh Peck in the movie, because he was in the movie for such a short time, I didn't see him for the character. I just saw Josh Peck. So I felt that was a disadvantage. The fact that we had so many of these well-known actors and they were in the movie for such a short amount of time, there was not enough time for me to say like, hey, look, that's not Josh Peck. That's so-and-so. He's playing this character, Because I feel like that took me out of the movie. That ruined the immersion a bit. Because I'm just seeing the actor. I'm not seeing the character, because they were just there for just these brief moments. But other than that, the acting was done really well. See, like, I didn't feel like that for Matt Damon, because Matt Damon was there long enough where I felt like, hey, he's playing this character. Robert Downey Jr., he's playing this character, and also the makeup helped and all that stuff. So yeah, the acting was great, but I feel like the use of so many well-known actors for such small roles was actually a disadvantage to the immersion in the movie, in my opinion. Another thing I didn't like, and I'm focusing on a lot of stuff that I didn't like about the movie because I'm late to this review, and I know this movie is received very well, so I'm sure you've heard all the opinions about why this movie is awesome. So I don't really need to reiterate those things too much. But one of the things I didn't like was, I watched the movie in 70mm, right? I know the film, based off what I've read, I know the film was filmed completely on film. And that's really cool, because I personally think that if you film a film on film, it has this magic to it, right? It doesn't have this, it's not as harsh as digital, right? There's this warmth to it. Like I said, remember I watched the beginning of the movie a bit when I came home on bootleg because I missed out on it. That looked better than me watching it in the theater. I don't know if it was just because of the blurriness, because it was just some dude recording on his camcorder, but that took away some of the harshness of the picture. My recommendation is, if you haven't watched this movie, don't watch the 70mm. Just watch it regular, okay? Because for me, The 70 millimeter, all it brought to the table was distortion. Okay, it brought like that film flicker throughout the entire movie. It was flickering throughout the entire movie, and it didn't add anything. I didn't get that movie on film magic, because Christopher Nolan's his color palette is usually here's the issue, because when I came home and I watched the bootleg bit, that first 13 minutes, right? The color palette there was different. And I don't know if that's because I'm watching a bootleg or because if that's how that beginning portion of the movie was filmed. So I'm at a loss here. I can't really say. But what I will say is, when I watched the movie in the theater, the color palette was cold. It was that very cold, normal, digital type look that you get in a Christopher Nolan movie. So it felt even though the movie was shot on film, from what I read, it felt like I was watching a movie that was shot digital, that was really clean, that had that real clean digital look, that was on the colder side of the color grading, but with that film flicker. So my theater experience was like, hey, what's the point? If you're trying to recreate that cold digital look, and then just throw on that film flicker, what's the point? Let me just go watch. I'll just go. I mean, I think it was cheaper too, right? To watch the regular. So let me know your experience on that. If you guys watch the regular, just the regular 2D, or just a regular showing, let me know what you guys think, because I feel like I would probably enjoy that more. I was expecting to enjoy the 70 millimeter more, but I feel like, honestly, at the beginning of the movie, I thought it was distracting. And then I just had to get used to it and continue watching the movie. I don't think that added anything to the experience. But back to the movie as an actual movie. I thought the characters were good. I thought Teller was a really cool character. I don't know how these people were in real life, but I like Teller. Maybe just because he was sort of like the opposition to Oppenheimer in a lot of scenes, and he did provide a different viewpoint to things, and I did like that. That scene where Kitty, his wife, was defending him in that trial, when they were trying to determine whether they're going to give his clearance back or not, that stood out to me a little bit, and I wish it didn't. I mean, it's not a big deal. I guess I'm making it a big deal by talking about it, but I'm just going to say it anyway. I feel like that scene was good. Okay, I'm just going to say that first. That scene was good. It was needed. Nobody was really sticking up for Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer wasn't standing up for himself. He's busy shaking everybody's hand. She was the only one that actually showed any opposition, any real opposition. But it just sucks that Hollywood has put in all this identity politics in movies. So when you even see a scene like this, which I don't think there was any intention of that in this scene, but even seeing a scene like this, at least my brain immediately thinks like, hey, what is the writer's motive here? Are they trying to put in their message or whatever? Like, I hate that I thought that. And it just sucks because we see this so many times in all these other movies and shows and games and everything. So I guess I've become sensitive to it whenever I see like a hint of it, a little sliver of it. I'm thinking like, whoa, is the director trying to put in there, like, what's the motive behind adding this? You know what I mean? And I don't like that. I don't like that I thought that, because the scene worked fine and it fit her character. And the same note, it was also satisfying to see Matt Damon's character stick up for him, because there's not a lot of people sticking up for this guy. And again, Teller, I felt like he stuck to what he believed. He stayed true to himself. So that's another reason why I liked his character. But again, overall, as a movie, it didn't blow me away. No pun intended. It didn't blow me away. Yes, it was a good movie. My experience was that it was disjointed in parts, but that could be my fault. Again, let me know what your experience was. The whole black and white jumping back and forth added to the confusion, in my opinion. Again, if you watch this movie a second time, I feel like it would make a lot more sense. If you watch this movie a second time, it would be fine. So, but watching it the first time, at least for me and my personal experience, it reminded me of Tenet. Not as bad as Tenet. Not as bad as Tenet, but still. And no, I didn't think the movie was slow. I didn't think it was boring. I don't think pacing was the issue. I think it was a well-made movie about a curious genius facing the consequences of his actions. It was shot well, but it was a historical drama. There's nothing. It wasn't anything special. I mean, I guess you could say the way it was shot was special because it was shot on film and they didn't use any CG, so that's special nowadays. There wasn't anything so different about this movie that blew me away, and there's not supposed to be anything different. I'm not expecting anything different, but there was no. What was the factor about this movie that was like, whoa, this is so amazing, that deserves all of this hype? I think all the hype was literally because it came out the same day as Barbie, and then the whole Barbenheimer thing. It was a solid movie, but in and of itself, there's not what is so like Inception, like the whole idea behind Inception. That's it's mind blowing. You know what I mean? And I feel like that story flowed a whole lot better than this story. Again, I might have sabotaged my experience, but from what I saw, you know, it felt like it was jumping all over the place. I keep saying the same thing over and over again, but really, let me know what you guys thought about that, because I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I need to watch. But see, the thing is, I ruined that first experience. I can't go back and watch it again because if I watch it again, it's going to make complete sense. Because I know that scene in that little room with that table with the wife sitting back there in the back left corner. That scene is taking place at this time. But from when I watched it in the theater, when that scene popped up, I had no clue when that was happening. And then it jumped to Robert Downey Jr., black and white. I don't know when that is happening either. So that was my issue with the movie. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. This review might be completely invalid because I was late. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. What did you guys think about the movie? I know most of you guys are going to absolutely love this movie, because that's the reception that I'm seeing. Everybody's liking the movie. But I personally think it's overhyped. That doesn't mean it was a bad movie. I just think it's overhyped. The hype is too high. Still a good movie. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section about what you guys thought about the movie. And did you feel that it was disjointed? Really, let me know that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.